How do you gain new clients as a music producer?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, as producers, we're always changing things and trying new things out, right? There's no set formula. As far as I can tell you what worked for me, is really, when I started, let me kind of backtrack. When I came to New York, few years ago, my goal was to just meet people because I didn't know anybody here. So I was like, all right, let me just meet people first, and then I can show them what I can do and all that. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
As a music producer, how do you
Oh, that's right, meet
gain
clients.
new clients?
Yes. So basically, when I first came to New York, Instagram. I think Instagram's a great tool. I think social media in general is a great tool. I am not on TikTok. Everyone tells me I need to be, and I know that.
You got to make a TikTok.
I'm working on that. Trust me, I know. It's like everyone's on there. I get it. But for me personally, Instagram was great. Now, mind you, when I came to New York, I already had music. I think that's you definitely want to have something to show for yourself, because you cannot just approach people and say, hey, you want to collab. People do it to me all the time, and I get DMs all the time like, want to collab, and the first thing I'll do is go on their profile, and I don't see any music, and I'm like, if that's your first impression, you just ultimately, if you're going to go and reach out to people, at least have something to show.
First impressions matter.
Absolutely. And I think that's really what worked for me. It was going to Instagram, and I would just DM artists. That's really how I did it. I wish I had like a cooler story.
But at that point, your Instagram was like a portfolio. At that point, so when you were DMing artists to try and work with new music artists, your profile had a lot of your work, a lot of your production work. So it was already
100%.
Basically set up as a working portfolio.
And that's how I look at it.
That's very useful.
I look at my Instagram like a resume. And
100%. Instagram can be a resume.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, I'll just flip it in reverse when people ask me to collab or they want to work. And, I give most people benefit of the doubt. And not to say I check everyone out, but most people I check out. At least I'm just curious. And the first thing I look at is their page, just because, whether you know it or not, we tell so much about ourselves on Instagram. You can find out about anybody. You can find out about a person just by looking at their Instagram. You can at least find out an idea of what they like, what kind of person they are. And that's the first thing I look for is like music. Well, what do you actually have that's like I can listen to? And from my experience, the majority would not have anything. They would reach out to me because that's how they wanted to get started. But it's like, you have to realize that it's, this industry is not necessarily fair. That, if I can work with Beyonce, great, I would love to. But I'm not even going to be able to approach her. Like, I have to get through someone to get to someone to get to someone. You have to work your way up, is my point. There are levels to this, as Meek Mill says. And I understand that, I personally am nowhere near where I want to be. But I think that's where it starts. Is like, well, number one, having a willingness, but then also having something to show for it. And then from there, it's just about connecting with people that are going to be, that are similar sound to you, or someone that you feel like can benefit. But for me, Instagram was great during COVID. That was a great tool for me. But I'll be honest, as of right now, like in present time, I don't do any of that anymore because right now I'm kind of just, I have enough artists that I'm close to now that it's literally just building on itself now. And what I mean by that is like, say I'll work with an artist and now they just tell their friends. It's almost just like word of mouth.
That word of mouth can be so crucial.
Absolutely.
And can do so much more to your career in a positive way.
And so I'm very, very thankful because the people that I do work with, I separate the people I work with into two categories. And those are clients, paid projects, right? And then I separate it into passion projects. People that I just want to work with. And the majority of people that I work with are clients, but I also have people that I just want to work with. Like, I don't care how much I'm paid. I just want to be a part of their vision.
Their journey.
Alessandra being one. I saw that you interviewed her brother, which was Young Dut. Shout out Young Dut. That was, I saw that on your Instagram.
Episode 17.
Yeah. So
I believe episode 17.
Young Dut. I'm working with his sister, Alessandra, who's an amazing artist.
Nice.
But we're doing a whole project. We're actually wrapping it up. It's actually done. But right now I'm at a point where like I'm thankful and lucky enough to work with artists who are already doing their thing. And I literally just meet people through them. And that's how it's been the last year. I haven't even, if anything, I'm like declining people on Instagram because I'm like, no, I'm happy with who I'm working with. You know, like I don't want to take on too many projects. So right now it's just gotten to the point where the circle that I have right now, I'm just able to meet people with just within them. And I'm happy about that. But if I ever, wanted to get back into it and meet someone new, I think Instagram is a great tool, or any social media for that matter.
Instagram is a great tool, and social media in general. Way to meet people. I've said it numerous times in the past. In this day and age, it feels like social media, Instagram, has become a new A&R tool.
100%. And I mean, look, 20 years ago, it was impossible to directly message someone that you like that's actually a mainstream artist. Not to say they're going to respond, but you'd be surprised how many people are actually like reachable, because everyone's on Instagram, everyone's on social media. I mean,
and how social media connects people. A great example was an open verse TikTok challenge. I saw that hip hop artist Russ did. He invited other artists to send in an open verse challenge for a couple of his songs. One of them was Remember, and most recently was the song he put out, Handsomer. As San Diego rapper Caitlyn did an open verse. It blew up and went viral. It caught his attention. They released the remix together, and then that song hit the top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100, all from TikTok and social media.
That is, I mean,
that's insane.
Social media is the new record label almost. It's like everything is generating from those.
There's been other instances where social media has put artists together with other artists, and what was created from that meeting digitally was astounding.
Yeah.
Just absolutely amazing. That wasn't maybe possible 20 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I think going back to what you said, first impression is big. And, you'd be surprised just reaching out to people directly and just, try to get your words right and try to, be as professional as possible. But, you definitely don't want to just be like, want to collab. I think if you want to separate yourself, you definitely, well, here's how I did. I'll tell you, I'll give you a gem that I think is a great way to meet someone that you want to work with. When I reached out to, excuse me, well, there's a few people I've done this with, but most recently, I'll say Alessandra. I really wanted to work with her. She has an amazing voice. And I was like, well, hold on. Let me actually make her something. Let me make her a beat. This was before I even met her. And I've done this with other people too, where I'll literally make something for them, like at least with them in my mind. And then I'll DM them. First message. Just think about it. Someone hits you up for the first time. You don't even know this person. They're like, hey, I'm a producer. I really want to work with you. Here's what I made for you.
Yeah.
Boom. Like,
that's a great way to go about it.
No one's ever done that to me. I wish someone would, because it just shows that extra step. And I think if you, and honestly, I think Instagram, social media, TikTok, whatever, I think they're all the best tools right now that we have available to work with the people that you want. But to take it a step further, it's like, just try to have something to showcase. Whether you're a singer or, in my case, I would just make beats for them. And this is true. I'm not even making this up. I actually made her a beat. She loved it. And then, it was just like, it's just like that extra thought that goes into it. It's, as opposed to just, look, it takes 2 seconds to just DM, hey, well, let's work.
That extra thought could go a long way.
But that extra thought, I think, is what really separates.
Because when building a career in the music industry, like we said, there's levels to it. But when building a career in the music industry, you got to show up every day. You have to be resilient. You have to be passionate and enthusiastic above all else. And you have to outwork everyone. Networking and, of course, being involved in the community matters. But you just have to work as hard as you can and just show up every day and just keep going at it.
Yeah, consistency.
That's so important. Consistency is key.
Yeah. And really, I think, there's, like I said, just being professional, whether it's social media or not. Just from the way you talk, you'd be surprised how much you can separate yourself. That's what it's all about, is separating yourself, right? How can I stand out? How can I be, because we all want to do music. There's a lot of people in New York that want to do music, whatever that means. But there's a lot of people that want to do ultimately what we're doing. And if you want to separate yourself, then you got to be different. And I think that really starts with your introduction, starts with and goes into your personality. And again, most of the things I mentioned are not even music related. These are just like people skills.
Yeah.
These are just skills that I've been fortunate enough to work in. I worked in restaurants for like all of my 20s. And I would say the majority of my people skills came from restaurants.
Yeah.
Knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to make people feel comfortable. Music comes after now.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. This is coming from someone who's done music for enough time to where I actually feel confident in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, just starting off, and this might be a little more difficult. But when you actually get to a point where you're comfortable with your sound, yeah, I mean, then at that point, you can just start, now you can actually showcase your personality. And
yeah.
I think that's to me, that's what's worked for me.
And that's a great point. Finding a way to separate yourself.
Yeah.